Some call it your civic duty, some call it your right as an American, but no matter what you choose to call it, voting is your way to have your voice heard. The only problem is sometimes you just don't have time to take to the world and wait in line to cast your ballot. Or do you? Our own Jesse Irwin breaks down the laws in each of the 4 states intended to help you make it happen.
Certain laws allow you to take time out of your workday to hit the polls, but those laws differ from state to state. So we're here to help you put pen to paper and stake your claim to American democracy here in the 4-state area. First up, Arkansas. The Bear State has a law that requires employers to make a schedule that ensures you a chance to vote on Election Day, or they could face a fine. There's no allotted time they have to give you to vote, as long as they give you the time to get to the polls. Now, unfortunately, the state doesn't specify if you're leave of absence or not, so that's ultimately up to your employer, so be nice. Kansas is a little bit trickier. The Sunflower State allows you to leave work for up to 2 hours to vote, but only if there's absolutely no way that you can make it during your work hours. So if you go to work past 9 a.m. or you leave work before 5 p.m., then you have to vote on your own time, as long as you have 2 hours in your day where you're off the clock before the polls close. Employers are allowed to specify when you can go vote as long as it's not during your regular lunch period. Employees also get paid for the time that they spend voting, as long as that time doesn't exceed 2 hours. In Missouri, you have up to 3 hours of paid time to vote as long as your employer is given prior notice. Like Kansas, you're only given the opportunity to vote while at work as long as you don't have 3 free hours in your day when you're off the clock to vote. Also like Kansas, your employer can specify what time you can go vote. Finally, Oklahoma requires employers to give you 2 hours of paid leave time to vote. Like Missouri, you can only vote while at work if you don't start or end your workday 3 hours before the polls close. Employers can also designate the hours that you're allowed to vote. Well, now that you're armed with the knowledge, get out to the polls on November 3rd and make your voice heard. Make sure your voice is heard.
Thank you, Jesse. That was very informative. And we've got all of them listed on our morning show page at KOAMNewsNow.com. And because Election Day is not a national holiday that we can take off work for, it takes some coordination if you're an American working on November 3rd and if you plan on voting in person.